The Hunted, Part 1. As I drove into town in search of my sister, I couldn't help but notice how quiet it was. No one walking outside, and the streetlights had all been off, which was kind of strange because it was only 8 p.m. on a Friday night. The last time I had spoken to my sister Warren was late last night. She sounded as though she was in danger. I could tell by her panicked voice and demeanor that she was scared and running away from someone or something rather quickly. I'm just lucky to be home from the military on leave, so I packed up my AR-15 along with my trusty Beretta M9 pistol and shoulder holster. I loaded my rucksack full of ammunition, MREs, and a camelback full of water. I even packed a flare gun and 8 flares. As I tossed everything into the back of my Silverado 4x4, my phone buzzed. I pulled my phone out of one of the many pockets on my vest and read the text I had just received. Hey, Captain Mills. Sergeant John Morris here. Just got your text about your sister being in trouble. I just got home on leave myself, and I got your back. I'm packing up my gear now. I had a few of my buddies run a trace on your sister's phone number. She is somewhere within a 2-mile radius of Morgan Nature Preserve, so I figured you and I can meet up there by 1600 hours, or 4 p.m. Captain Roger Mills slowly sighed as he replied with an "Okay, see you there" message. He then slid his phone back into his vest pocket and hopped into the driver's seat of his Silverado. The diesel engine roared to life as he turned the key in the ignition. He lit a cigarette as he pulled out of his driveway and began the 2-hour drive out to the Morgan Nature Preserve, praying all the while that his sister was all right. As Roger emerged onto the highway, it began to downpour. He turned his wipers all the way up to full blast, cursing under his breath as the puddles of rainwater were tossed off his windshield by the wipers. As Roger leaned over to set the cruise control on his truck, he noticed a small 4-door sedan trailing behind him. He didn't really think much of it or pay much attention to the car itself. That is, until it got closer, and he made a note of the fact that the vehicle did not appear to have any license plate, nor any indicating marks of any kind, no registration or inspection stickers on the windshield either. The car sped up and was right on Roger's bumper. "What the hell is wrong with this dude?" Roger mumbled under his breath as he sped up, but the car matched his speed as it cruised behind Roger, inches from his bumper. Roger spotted his exit and waited until the last possible second to take it. His tires screeched as he barely cleared the guardrail alongside the exit. But it worked. The car behind him was unable to follow. The driver must have been caught off guard. Once Roger had reached the entrance gate to the Morgan Nature Preserve, he saw another Chevy truck approaching. It was Roger's friend he had served with in the military, Sergeant John Morris. Morris and Mills are both Army Rangers, 2 of the best in their unit, it would seem. They greeted one another and began discussing how the 2 of them were going to begin the search for Warren. As Sergeant Morris pulled out a topographical map of the preserve, he stopped and began to slowly scan the perimeter of the small dark parking lot. "Hey, Raj, you hear that, man?" the sergeant asked in a low voice as he raised his AR-15. Roger did the same as they both swept the area with their assault rifles. "There!" John shouted as he fired a few rounds into the tree line. "Cease fire, bro. I saw it too, but it moved way too fast for us to get a close look." The 2 Rangers stood ready to defend for a few more minutes and before they returned to checking over the map and cross-referencing it with the location that Warren's phone pinged at last, which was 2 clicks south of their current position, which meant they would be hiking there. The sun was slowly dropping from the sky. Roger glanced at his watch. "Almost 1900 hours. We're losing daylight." Roger whispered. "Hey, man, you notice when we got here? It's way too quiet out there. We should be hearing all sorts of wildlife. After all, this is a nature preserve, right?" John inquired. But as the 2 Rangers looked at one another, they heard the sounds of something running, and by the sound it was making, it was on 2 legs. Captain Mills grabbed Sergeant Morris by the collar and yanked him down into the thick brush. As they sat waiting, the sounds of the footsteps grew closer and closer. Mills glanced out of the brush and couldn't believe his eyes. There were 3 bipedal creatures that resembled a smaller version of a kangaroo. However, instead of small short arms like a kangaroo would have, these things had long silver blades for arms, and something told both of the Army Rangers that these things were extremely dangerous and most definitely not friendly. The pair contemplated shooting one of the beasts, but decided against it as they were outnumbered and had no idea if there were more of them around. They also had no choice but to sit there and wait them out. It seemed as though they would never leave. However, after waiting almost 3 full hours, the creatures had finally left. And even though they were only two-legged creatures, they moved extremely fast. When Mills looked at his watch, it was almost 22:30, which is 10:30 p.m. at night. It was pitch black. Both Mills and Morris switched on their night vision goggles, which restricted their vision to straight ahead, like tunnel vision. They decided to backtrack. According to the map, there was a structure of some sort about a half-mile south from their current location. So they began slowly and quietly hiking south, as they both knew that they needed shelter of some kind to protect them from whatever the hell was out there, while they thought of some sort of a plan to find Roger's sister and get the hell out of there in one piece. Alright, folks, well, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed part 1 of the book I'm writing called The Hunted. It's actually going to be a series of short stories. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to like and subscribe, turning on all notifications for RathCo Gaming, which is the RathCo YouTube channel. You can also follow us over on TikTok by looking up Robbie Rath on TikTok and look for my ugly mug. Anyways, I consider each and every one of you a friend of the Rath. I consider each and every one of you a member of the RathCo family of gamers and friends. You all have my love and respect, and until next time, see you on the flip side. Thanks for listening. Later.